All right, so you gonna just keep the thigh out?
Where'd the caption go? Oh my gosh.
You just keep the leg out?
It's hot.
Just cross the other one. Just cross the other one.
Why are you so concerned about my thighs that God blessed me with? I can't help it.
Oh, okay. Now it's... What's up? I'm Z.
Actually, I'm Z.
I was Z first.
It really doesn't matter. We're here to spill some tea. And if you don't want to hear our tea, then deuces.
Deuces, the name of the show. Let's get into the tea.
Let's. BET Awards. Did you watch?
I didn't watch the awards. I don't really watch award shows anymore. Ever since was it the singer? Sam
Cooke?
No, the white guy.
Smith?
Yes, Sam Smith did the whole devil thing on the stage. It's kind of like, it seems that the narrative is anything that's debaucherous is cool, and they were accepting that. We want to accept like Christian standards, and it's like, okay, this is supposed to be a kids show. What are you watching? Not a kids show, but like a family show. I think it was like North was there, and you know the famous kids.
Yeah,
were there.
Was it Nickelodeon?
And it's all like, here's what we're. And so I was like, you know what? It was an assignment for school. They're like, watch it. It's a live show, and I was like, you know what? I'm not feeling the live shows. I feel like we're pandering and stuff. I thought we need to get it together. So no, I did do highlights, and I saw a bunch of booty. It's like there's a bunch of booty everywhere.
I also did not watch because I also don't really watch award shows that much anymore, just because I feel like they're fake. However,
what does that mean, fake? Like, what's that mean?
Just like
the awards themselves. Like, you shouldn't have got that award.
Just like all of it, like who's orchestrating it and why. And it's not like, I feel like it's something that started as like, oh, let's acknowledge these people. Let's actually, have the right people vote and acknowledge these people for their talent. And now I feel like it's just.
I feel like it started with some rich men that were like, we want to have something prestigious and make it an award. And that's what it's like, still a panel and you submit stuff. And it's kind of like, if it gets submitted and then you get enough hits or whatever, which is like a really lay terms of what happens. But it's like, if you're not in these circles, then you're not being plugged. Depending on the awards they go, like something like Apple Music, I think had awards. So obviously they're going to go based on the amount of downloads that you have, which is kind of, okay, this is obviously by the fans or the record label that's running up the downloads, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But other shows, I don't know if the awards are like this. This is like the Academy. It's like that in the Oscars with like the panel. You got to submit stuff. The BET Awards, I don't know. It's kind of like, oh, this is our award show because we black. So we're on the shirt today.
Yeah. I mean, so I feel like what I'm referring to is like when we were younger, I feel like award shows were more like a thing. And I'm like, and it could just be because I'm older now, because whatever.
It's because of cable. Cable's going away. And it's like live TV. It's all like, do I want to sit here and watch it when you have it scheduled? Or do I just want to stream it later on my own time?
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like that has to do with it. Like, who's watching it live now? Like, the viewership for live television is dropping.
People like to live tweet, though, and talk about things live and see what happens first. But the only award show I really care about, like, watching all the way through is the Dundies.
What's the Dundies?
If you know, you know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, I know you don't.
You're not the only one, because I don't know. So, what is it really?
Office, Michael Scott.
Okay.
Anyways, BET Awards, though, there were two things that were trending, and I did tune into those. The first one was Taraji P. Henson and Keith Lee.
I saw that.
And I'm like, first of all, Taraji is Taraji, and he is a TikToker. No shade, but why we're expecting her to know just off top who he is?
We're expecting her to know because she should have known who he was.
No, here's the thing, though, because she came out and said
he was in the wrong seat. I saw that.
100%, which he also put out a statement blaming production for that, which it probably was production's fault. Spider web. Oh, no. Which it probably was production's fault, because why would Keith Lee, who's attending the BET Awards, just be like, I'm just going to sit here instead of here. Obviously.
New generation.
Production. I understand. But
That's how y'all be.
I feel like y'all, I'm not the same age as that man. Anyways, I feel like maybe production put him in the wrong seat. I feel like too much of a big deal was that Taraji is Taraji.
Yeah, I'm like, why is this a big deal?
Sir, it ended up being a big deal because after she gave him the rose, he made a video recording himself being like, this rose really wasn't for me, and dropping it on the ground.
Oh, that's not what the captions are.
That's when it became like, oh, why did he do that? So then he was like, oh, no shade to her, but y'all know I always said if it's not for me, then I don't even want it. So clearly that wasn't. It was too much. He should have
Clearly it was for you.
He should have just been
but
quiet.
You were in the wrong seat.
Right. Because the bit that she was doing was in reference to what he does on TikTok of rating the food and stuff.
Oh, because I didn't know what she was talking about. It's like 10 out of 9.
Because why? Because unless you are a younger generation or a hardcore TikToker, you not gonna know who Keith Lee is.
Taraji definitely didn't know who he was.
That's why she put her little statement out and was like,
she's
look.
Like, oh, well, you still fine. She did. She said, I cleaned it up at the end.
Right.
Like, you're welcome.
She
I made
said,
you relevant.
Right.
Which I think she did.
She was like, y'all, I'm grown. I practiced. I hit my marks. The little boy wasn't there. It is what it is. And let it go.
How long has she been doing this? Like, bro.
Right.
And I just wanted to stop everything and just be all like, she was fine in a little lime green dress. I was like, hold on now. Lord forgive me. Lord forgive me.
Shut up. I was seeing too, this younger generation was like, and his wife was me mugging because she was like, he's still fine. Call her. Do you really think for real that's her?
His wife was in?
Yes, his wife was sitting next to him.
Oh, there was a lady sitting next to him.
I'm saying, like, TikTok famous and like for real famous ain't the same.
It was the funny guy that said The Rock thought he was old.
That man is fine and he do look like Method Man.
And then, yeah, right. And I was like, he doesn't look like Method. And then it was like somebody else. And then the guy who she was supposed to be talking to, I don't even know. It was a girl.
That's what I'm saying. Unless you're a younger generation or a hardcore TikToker, you not gonna know. So it definitely got blown out of proportion.
I'm like, how are you gonna talk about that more than Lauren? I'm like, first off, Lauryn Hill was at the BET Awards. Everyone's talking about Taraji.
This. Like, get out of here.
If you're gonna talk about anything, I saw what she said, it's for us. They're not like us. She didn't not like us, but she changed the lyrics or whatever when she started. Opening. And I was all like, see, culture.
Yes.
That's the topless culture. And I'm all like, man, Kendrick. Who is Drake?
Who?
Can he still drop songs?
Who is that? I don't even know.
Is he still allowed to drop songs?
I don't know who that is.
I was like, why would you stop? I bet J. Cole was all like,
right.
He was probably watching Taraji like, oh, I told Aubrey.
Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas. I'm just saying. Anyways, so that was that. I just wanted to do a little tidbit on that because it's like,
I do feel like Monique was one of the best hosts for the BET
for
Awards,
sure.
Though. Like I was like, oh well,
and somebody
Monique.
was like, that's what happens when you have Taraji instead of a real comedian. Like, relax.
That's what I'm saying. Because like, well, Monique killed it.
Monique is funny, but
I think Monique is underrated.
Taraji did her thing. The other thing at the BET Awards was the Usher tribute. So a lot of mixed reviews on that. A lot of people are like, Usher deserved better.
Yeah, that's why I stopped watching. I was trying to watch it. And I was like, oh, this is a bunch of booty shaking and twerking. I'm like,
Some people did very well. Some people, why were they even...
pitchy. I'm like, Usher saying this way better.
Marsha Ambrosia. I know that ain't her real last name. But the best part of that song, Superstar, is that intro. I'm not even going to try to, but y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not even going to try to do it. I ain't going to try to do it. That's the best part of that song. And
I feel like Chloe was on key.
Ruined it. Kiki was fire.
Kiki is a performer.
100% through and through.
I don't know about her pitch, but her performance was. And I feel like is she like a super Usher fan?
I think she has always looked up to Usher. And then I think that when the situation with her baby daddy happened, it magnified everything. They did a song together. They did a video together. And I low-key think the reason they had her do the song she did
Lead the one I'm with. I was all like, is she trying to
was
lead the one she with?
because of that. Well, they haven't been together for a minute because he's abusive. So
They haven't
let's
been
not.
together?
Let's forget that.
Oh,
her
the
and the
guy
baby daddy.
who she was with. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm about to say, her and Usher were together?
No.
What?
Wait, Usher's so much older than Kiki. Come on.
Oh, because that matters.
I don't think she's into him for real at all. I think, like you
He
said,
still looks...
she's a performer and he's a performer. And them together at the concert was a performance moment, 100%.
Who was the lady? Who was the chick next to Usher?
His wife.
That's his wife? Okay.
Yes.
I was like, that's what? Because Coco
Went to her.
went to her.
I loved that.
And he was all like, and
I
then when
loved that.
she did grab him, he was all like,
I loved that.
look straight away like, hey,
But I
this
think
is-
as far as performances go, Childish Gambino opened very well.
Oh, yeah. He
Always.
Killed it.
Great.
He's Donald Glover to me, whatever he
I
doing.
loved Kiki's segment. Summer Walker's BBL hips is out of control. I couldn't even. I was like,
I was like, what's going on with her hips? Look, so Samaya was watching with me. This is why I stopped it. I was all like, so Samaya, like,
that's my niece. She's only.
how do you, what do you see here? She was like, they're dancing inappropriately. I'm like, are you saying that just because I'm right here? And she was all like, no, like first there's so much skin showing. So much skin. I'm all like, at least you respect me enough to say that to my face.
And I also feel, I don't know. I don't feel like Summer Walker should have been one of the performers or Tinashe.
Yeah, Summer Walker.
However
that's the
you
song
say
you
her
sing.
name.
That's the song you sing.
Like,
how you singing the song you sing?
Right.
Like, it's
I'm
supposed to be
like,
a tribute. Why you singing the song
why
you
we
sing?
got her there?
And that's why I said, that's why I stopped it. I was all like, what is this?
Tinashe's part pissed me off.
Can we get like, you know what I'm saying? OGs like Case.
Something.
Jaheim. Is he on crack? I saw a picture. I'm not sure. Jaheim.
He's losing
you know what
his
I'm talking
hair.
about?
He got like one little piece.
Like the old school D'Angelo could have
I'm
done
not
something
mad
maybe.
that it was majority women. I like what they were trying to do, like being creative that way. However,
they could have had women like Kiki.
Right. Or
Because it's an
Tiana.
Usher
I
tribute.
love how Tiana and I think it was Victoria Monet recreated Usher and Beyonce's performance.
I didn't get that far.
I also just personally love Tiana Taylor. That's my girl crush. I love her.
Taylor is a performer.
She's an amazing
Another
performer.
Kiki, so I could get that. So somebody like Kiki, Tiana Taylor.
They could
But
have
the
just
other girl, they were just like being. It's like they were selling themselves and singing an Usher song.
yes. And then
That's not
they
a tribute.
ended with Lotto.
Lotto was doing the Usher tribute.
They did, yeah. And they had Lotto come out and do Luda's verse, and I feel like they should have had Meg do it.
Well, Lotto, that seems like a legit choice.
She was changing lyrics and stuff and trying to put her name in it, and I'm like, not the time. This ain't about you.
That's what I'm talking about. It's
This
a tribute.
ain't about
it's a tribute.
you, Lotto. So other than that, though, I feel like they could have really just had, they could have had Childish, they could have had Kiki, they could have had Chloe, and they could have had Tiana do the whole thing. Everybody else could have been thrown out, and they could have just did their little outfit changes and did the whole thing, and it would have been way better. Marsha Ambrosius, though, was highly, highly, highly disappointing. Like, what?
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's Ambrosia. And I was like, she don't.
Highly disappointing. But Usher was sitting there smiling, like looking so proud the whole time. So that's really all.
It's a tribute for him. So
That's really all that mattered.
I like I'm getting appreciated. And
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the Super Bowl, I was all like, yo, Usher's body of work.
Right?
Like, man.
And we don't realize how long it's been because he's still fine and young looking.
Because he was like 16. He was 16.
Like, Usher been killing it.
when he started.
Yeah.
You was talking
At Diddy
about that?
House, staying with him.
I was thinking about it. But I wasn't gonna. What I was thinking is like, you know, when you escape the Diddy, you good.
That's where
You know
he
what
was
I'm talking
at.
about? He
I guess his mama
escaped.
was like, you can go stay with this man. So anyways, he is a legend though. I'm glad that he got recognized. So I just wanted to touch on that.
I wish he was still at Vegas. I'm about to go out there.
When you going to Vegas?
So anyway,
Oh, okay.
it's a business trip.
Sure.
That's nice.
Oh, okay.
It
All
is
right.
every year. It's the same trip.
Okay, business trip. All right, Reverend. So moving on, I want to take a little. I want to take a little pivot. Speaking of Reverend, I want to take a little pivot to this documentary I watched on Netflix, 7M Cult, TikTok Cult. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I watched it on Netflix, but I also watched
With the
it
Shekinah Church.
like Hulu or somewhere else before I watched it on Netflix. But Netflix I didn't know that the guy was with another church and stuff like that. Like
it's the Shekinah Church, and it's been around for a minute. So I wonder if what you saw was like the old one, and then he tapped into these TikTok kids.
No, I was talking about the 7M one I saw. I was talking about the dance stuff, but it wasn't as deep as like even that. I didn't know the guy that did the crump was like a Christian. It's all about the praise.
I didn't know crump was like, but you know what? That made me think back to, because that's when St. Matthew was popping when crump first came out.
Yeah,
and we were doing that kind of stuff.
Day was learning it, and
I'm like, oh, that makes sense, because nobody was really complaining about us doing it. And that's when the face paint and stuff started coming out and praise dancing too. You know,
I feel like it had already been around.
Nah. It was getting popular around then.
Because you're older than me, so you would know, I guess. All right.
Anyways,
okay.
But no, that was very insane and very disheartening to watch someone using religion and God in the Bible to manipulate people in a major way.
It's not the first time. But also using
these other young people to like go recruit these people. It was gross.
It's not the first time.
The whole thing just made me feel so gross.
It's exactly how you build a cult.
But also, is that not how you build a church?
So I've been looking at that and I'm like, here, let's be real. And this is what so for me personally, like I can preach.
And because you've said, let's get young people in the church to get more young people to come back. You know what I mean?
So here's success, right? He said, be fruitful, multiply. He said, you will witness to Judea, to Jerusalem, and then all Judea, you'll do more things. So yeah, young people is who you will want. Successor. There's no success without a successor. So youth is who you would want because that's the now and the future. But it really depends on where your heart is at. Like, why do I want the church to grow? Specifically, St. Matthew, because I know that the message is straight from the Bible. That's the truth there. Growing up, that's all I knew. So I didn't know that other pastors and ministers weren't living what they were preaching. But because my dad was doing that, I thought that was a norm, which is a blessing, but it's not. So that's what I want to move forward because it's all like, there's a lot of like, these cults, man. And I'm all like, this is why the Bible talks about you're going to be held accountable, doubly because you are a minister. You accept this calling. Now you're going to be held accountable for what it is you're saying and anybody that you lead astray. And it'll be so easy to be a charismatic speaker, to gain a following. And I know the word, it would be very easy to manipulate that and use it for my own personal gain.
Yeah.
So I'm like, when I watch these cults, I'm all like, it's crazy how these people, I don't know if I say crazy, but it amazes me how these people will follow these men and they get to the point to where they're giving them their daughters. They're like, oh, well, they're giving them their wives. Like, oh, yeah, well, he's the only one that can be able to have sex. And it's a privilege to be able to have sex 16, 15, 14, 12. And it's all like, man, these people are hungry. People are hungry for the truth and they'll accept any kind of substitute. So cults that pop up, yeah, of course. Why? Because tickling ears. All I got to do is just tickle your ears, which I could easily do because I have the gift to gab. I got the gift to speak. And like I said, I can preach and I know the word. It would be easy to manipulate that. But spirit and truth, I couldn't do that. And not because of the people here on this earth, but because of my relationship with God. That's why it's all like, because of that relationship is good and I want to keep that relationship good. That's the only reason why I have a good relationship with anybody else here. Mm-hmm. But that's the importance of actually getting into the word and being spirit and truth. Like, you need to live this life if you're going to speak about it versus just being talented at one thing. And then now you're like, oh man, I could just say whatever. Because the Twin Flames was the same thing. These guys are just online talking about stuff and people are so hungry for stuff. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh man, yeah, that sounds Oh, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
This one part makes sense. And they hold on to that. The 7M, the girl that was like getting so abused, and she was all like, but I was like, well, no, this is God's prophet. So I just have to endure this.
Man.
And it's all like, bruh, the Bible says, come, let us reason.
That broke me.
And I'm all like, woo.
And especially because those two girls, like,
talking about the
on 7M.
The sisters from Chicago, or
the sisters,
the Asian ones,
the Asian ones,
yes, yeah.
Who their dad left, and their mom was an alcoholic, so they didn't have anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So they went and found this church.
Yep, they were hungry,
and they just got, oh my goodness, like it's just, and they're like, that's all we had, and you could even see the older sister, even now that she's out, just still trying to process everything and almost grieving. It was like. That was really, really hard to watch.
Traumatic experience. But
also really good to watch. I feel like that was super educational for people to understand. Because I always feel like, how was somebody in a cult? Because I question everything. Like, I can never. Like, I don't understand. Like, how? Like, how? Like, he's coming at you with the facts from the Bible when simply, if you're reading the word on your own, it says, honor thy father and mother. So he's telling you, you have to die to everybody and cut everybody off. But the Bible says, honor thy father and mother. Right there is a contradiction in itself. So how do you not question those things?
The Bible also says that I came to turn the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law against each other, a father against a son. You have to have context. And this is where the importance of being a minister and rightly dividing the word comes into play. Because what does that mean? It means that, well, God's word is divisive. Why is it divisive? Because it's a word that's telling you that you're a sinner. Even though the whole point is that there's a way out. It's Jesus, right? That's the redemptive nature of the word. People kind of like forget about that because it's saying, well, I can't do it on myself. I need something else. You're telling me that I'm bad and I need this. And I feel like people get caught up on that. So because of that, people will alienate you and you don't even have to alienate yourself. They just say, well, if you're a Christian, you must believe this. I went to my high school reunion and it was so refreshing because everybody was all like, oh, you're so cool. This is like last year. The 10 year, whatever. And everybody was like, everybody knew
Definitely
my name.
Not 10 year.
Knew my name. I was all like, that's crazy. Because I didn't think that I was that popular.
Well, side note, when I started going there, I would
People talked about me?
Oh, here's Mario's little sister.
Who said that?
Like freshman year. That's what I would get. Oh, he's Mario's little sister?
I graduated in 2002. Where'd you go? When was your freshman year?
I graduated in 2006.
So your freshman year was 2004?
Yeah.
So the whole year after I was gone?
Maybe my freshman year was 2003.
And they were like, Isaac was still there. He was still there.
Maybe.
I think. Anyway, it's crazy because there was this guy there and he was like gay. He like came out in high school. Now, this is 2002, okay? Not 2024. Now, looking back, I'm like, that took some testes.
Yeah.
Took some testes, you know what I'm talking about? I don't know what he was doing with him after that, but it took some, no, I'm kidding. But so he came out, the whole school knew about it. He had a brother, his brother was upset at him. We were in drama ambassadors together. We were friends. Okay. All right. Any discrimination that came his way around me, I was ready to fight because it's wrong. Regardless. That doesn't mean I believe that what he's doing is right, but I believe discrimination is wrong. You know what I'm talking about? So I joined the gospel choir that came there. Obviously, I got into it because, you know, I've always been down with Jesus. And he said at the reunion, like, you always accepted me for me. You never like switched up. Like when I was going through that, I want to thank you for that. And now me being an adult, I'm all like, yeah, that must have been a lot to him because there was people that was going to the school that was just trashing him just because I'm like, guys, come on. Like stereotypically, the Christian is supposed to be the one that's being all extra judgmental.
Right.
But you know what I'm talking about? That wasn't the case. And he was like, I know you got into the Christian stuff and I thought you were going to change, but you didn't. And I was all like, it's the Christian stuff that made me be able to still like, you know, talking about like accept you or whatnot. Like you're my friend.
Right.
Like we're cool. Regardless. I don't agree with everything that you do, but I don't agree with everything that a lot of my other friends do.
Right.
But what we do agree on is like, I guess, the loyalty of their relationship or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking at that and I was just thinking how, what was the point? What was I forgot. I forgot why I started. High school, we were talking about 7M. High school.
Oh
people
my
were, like,
gosh.
recognizing me.
You started talking about people recognizing you and you just...
I forgot.
I was talking about the sisters and how they were looking for something.
Yeah, I forgot. But the point is
Bring it on home.
Huh?
Bring it on home.
Yeah, the point is that you never know the influence that you have on somebody. That's what I was saying. I didn't realize that the influence I had on people, and it was just because I was like nice, and I just treat people like people.
Mm-hmm.
There's another girl that put the whole thing on. She was all like, oh, "I'm so glad you're here." All I did was like share some candy with her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember the situation, but she was like, that meant so much to me because I was having such a bad day. And she was Asian. So back in 2002, there was like a little race war in the school between like the Asians and the Mexicans. I don't know why, but it was tense for the Asians and the Mexicans. Not like I was black. I was like, but I was just watching. I was like, it's crazy. So she was facing some discrimination, and I was just all like, "Oh, you like having a bad day?" Like smile or something like that. And then it was like Easter, and I like
probably low key trying to flirt.
Shared the candy. I don't think I was, but I would have. I mean, and she was like, "Oh, that meant so much to me," and I'm all like, "How do you remember that?" 10, 20 years later, like I don't even remember that, but it meant something to her. Living the life is very important because when you actually apply the word, you feel the power of the word. But
that's what it was about.
That power of the word, okay, can be twisted. The same thing happened in the Bible. This guy, I believe his name was Peter. Peter rebuked the guy that was like, "Hey, let me get some of that Holy Ghost power so I can go make some money." And then he got rebuked by the disciples. So it's like, yeah, it's out there. And yeah, it happens because people are looking for something. That's why we got to go out there and feed them, man. He says these streets is white. The harvest is ready because people are hungry for the truth.
But do you think, well, of course, obviously situations like this is harmful for the church, but as somebody who wants to recruit people to come to the church, and people are, I mean, a lot of people are standoffish from church right now. And when things like this happen, they're like, this is why, because because this guy's saying this, he's saying that, and this is what he's actually doing. So how do you feel like, you can combat that if you can combat that?
I don't feel like I have to combat anything. I need to live my life the way Christ directs me to live the life in the Bible, because that's what the abundant life is. Like I said, because of that relationship I have with him, that's why I started. That's why the relationship I have with other people is legit. Because otherwise, I would be selfish. I would be just thinking about me. I would be in your house robbing it at night. I would be doing debaucherous things because I wouldn't have the lighthouse that I have. That's my standard. So because it's like a cross, this relationship affects these relationships. So it's like I'm being real. So I have receipts. My receipts is the way that I live my life and the way that I apply the word. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but that's what it is. So I don't have to try to convince you of anything. All I have to do is present to you what the truth is. And it's going to be all like, yo, okay, see, this is different. I ain't talking about being church folk. I'm talking about being actual Christians. They'll know you by the love that you show.
For sure. I want to give a quick rundown of this documentary because we kind of just jumped into it. It's on TikTok. It's called 7M, the TikTok cult. You've probably heard of it. But long story short, there's this man named Robert Shin, who started this church, the Shekinah Church.
Drop.
Yeah. And apparently he likes to sue people. Brother,
it's always them Roberts.
I ain't got nothing for you, brother.
Always
so you can come
Roberts.
with it if you want.
Them Roberts. You got to watch them Roberts.
He's not even a brother, though. He Asian. Anyway, so he started this church called the Shekinah Church years ago. people started following. It seemed like it started as like a normal, regular church.
Mm-hmm.
People were vibing with it. And then along the lines, he got greedy.
Started feeling himself.
Basically had started opening all these different businesses and had people working for him to bring in money. He really wanted to be famous. So he tried to like, he had this like son that wasn't really his son. That guy wasn't his son for real.
What's his son?
Uh-uh.
I missed that part.
It was like his right hand, but that wasn't his son for real. Started pushing him out to do auditions. His daughter, who looks like Khloe Kardashian a little bit, her name's also Khloe, but was trying to push her to be a singer. Nothing was sticking. Nobody was getting famous, whatever. Still had this church, still was like abusing people, all kinds of crazy stuff. Fast forward, he starts getting involved with these popular dancers on TikTok who want to get better brand management, want to get better brand deals. And these are Christian dancers who want to be influencers, but you know, their religion and their relationship with God is important to them. So he totally played on that and was like, hey, I'm going to just start managing y'all and help y'all get these brand things. And so he started this management company called 7M. There was these two sisters, the Wilkins sisters, who started off on TikTok together. They met one of Robert Shin's dancer guys. One of the sisters ended up falling in love with him. The other sister was like, yo, this is weird.
I think they collaborated. Sorry with them collaborating.
Yeah, it started with a collab because the Wilkins sisters were already kind of influencers on their own. They collabed with, I want to say his name is B-Dash, is his dance name.
That sounds right.
And then one of the sisters started to fall in love with him. They end up getting married and he kind of just like sucked her into this cult. And the other sister and the whole family is left extremely heartbroken. That was hard to watch, just to watch the dad breaking down over that. And it's like, this is your adult child. What I couldn't imagine. Like, I'm sure that's very, very hard. But that's just a quick little, if you haven't seen it or you don't know, I would say go watch it on Netflix.
And she's still in the cult.
She's
apparently.
still in the
like,
cult.
She's still dropping the dance videos and doing the stuff.
Yep.
And it looks like, it do be looking like she be asking for help. Context is everything, but it do be like, I went immediately to TikTok and I was like, she's still on TikTok. So I went to the TikTok and saw TikTok.
She hasn't posted since
saw
May.
TikTok she posted and somebody was all like, raise your hand if you need help. And she did like this. And they were like, I don't know if that was a hand raise.
Right.
She was just moving her hand, but her face does look like there's some trauma going on there. I don't know if that's just life.
Because her and her family were like the typical little American white, I'm just saying that because they're actually white family. And
you don't have to give a disclaimer. They was white. It was a white family.
They were doing dance lessons. They just had this adorable little family. Of course, no family's perfect, right? But they were all so close. Her and her sister did everything together. They were like this. So obviously she is going through some trauma to be ripped away from that. But they're being told, you have to die to yourself. You have to die to everything else. You have to do this to save your... It's just... The whole thing is wild and infuriating. Because how can you just be comfortable taking advantage of people like that? And so then... The first time that he got exposed, a lot of people left the church, including his little right-hand man son and his daughter, his biological real-life daughter, bounced up out of there. So that's when the red flags started for the people who did leave, who were a part of the documentary, because they were like, we started seeing those people leave, and we were like, there has to be some truth to these claims that are coming out. There is also legal things going on, like, he's definitely in the process of going through court for stuff. I feel like they're gathering evidence to try to drop something real big.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to talk about it because, being a pastor's kid, and I know how you've been talking about wanting to grow St. Matthew, and you use some of those, you use the same tactic.
I'm a full disclosure. I be watching the documentaries because I be all like, what's the sauce? How are they getting people to follow them? And these people are like, you have to sacrifice your babies. That's what the Lord wants. And they be all like, sure. What? What? Are you kidding me? You follow that? I'm like, what? Like, what is the sauce? And I be seeing it. And it's usually because they lift themselves up. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And it's like, but that's not, but that's not the word of God.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's all like, I'm not going to use
So
that.
it's like the sauce is something you wouldn't even do because
that sauce ain't saucing. I'm on the blood of Christ.
Right.
I don't need that. But that's what happens. And that's why, our father was always like, read it for yourself. This is the scripture I'm coming from. This is where it's at. You can find it in the Bible. That's why I'll do an outline. I'll be all like, yep, this is it. This is the scripture. Go look up for yourself, because I can guarantee you people weren't going and reading and saying, now, hold on, now this is what the Bible says here.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? But they were like, he's a man of God. Mm-hmm. Look, he's got people following him.
Yep.
There's this person that's telling me it's okay. She's saying it's all right. And it's not just that cult, but like all the other cults, even the cults that got like women in it, and they're convincing people to like kill themselves. And it's just like people are looking.
Mother God, was that the other one?
Did you watch that one? The other Asian one?
Yeah.
A lot of like Asian Pacific Islander.
I don't think she was Asian. She was white.
Raised up there. Then I was not.
And they kept her body like mummified in the back room.
I think I saw it.
And it was like blue because she was drinking silver.
I have
that
not.
one I believe it's called Mother God.
Mother God?
It's on Hulu. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's on Hulu. I thought you were talking about Netflix. Okay,
no, this one's on Hulu.
All right, see, I gotta sop it up.
I love me a good cult info. I watch them.
Yeah, the guy with the aliens. There's so many. There's so many out there, and it's all like
sad.
You'll go to this far-fetched thing before you come to church because somebody hurt you. It's like, well, somebody hurt you in church.
Yeah,
like, I get that, but it's like
it just makes me like really want to instill good values and common sense in my children, because
Christian values and common sense are good. Because we're talking about cults, and I'm all like, well, isn't it the same as your witch stuff? I don't know. It's like somebody who messes with that,
messes with what
cultish behavior
makes you think I'm a witch.
How much in the atmosphere? It's not funny. It's not funny. You should not be playing like that, but it was funny.
It was funny.
What? But no, there is definitely. I
would never use my powers against you.
My powers. God is the only power. And here's the thing. This is what I will say. True power is God's power, right? God. That's it. One way to God is Jesus. And I think that's what people get mixed up on. It's all like, whoa. Well, there's many ways towards God. I can find God through all these other ways if I don't want to go to that way. And it's all like, well, out of all the religions, I think I said this before, Jesus is the only one that said he's the only way to get to God. And he's the only one that's mentioned in all these other religions. So it's like, well, there's something there. Something there. But any other kind of way you try to get to God is witchcraft. Any other kind of way other than Jesus that you try to access God is witchcraft. But there's still power. When it says when two or more are gathered, there's power. Blood, there's power. There's power in that, but it's counterfeit power. And that's why it usually comes with a cost.
Give me an example of that.
Like rituals. When you see these rituals, and it's like, well, why does this stuff work?
Like rituals that they do on the award show?
Yeah. Even if they don't know it. This is why we're looking at like they were talking about like Taylor Swift on one of these YouTube pages I watch. But watch this one, only this one. But I was like, oh, they're giving. I feel like they give these artists too much credit. I feel like they're being artistic, but they are delving into some demonic stuff. They're like, oh, this is some demonic stuff. It's cool because it'll go with my story.
Are we giving Taylor a pass because she's like a innocent looking white girl?
I don't know what Taylor is into. That's what I'm saying. I haven't had a conversation with her.
Me personally, I just feel like there's definitely good and evil. And me as someone who's artistic, like at this point where I am, I don't even think I would take a role. And granted, I don't have contracts and whatever, but I don't know. I'm the type of person that I'm not gonna do something that I don't want to do or that I don't feel comfortable doing. So for me personally, being creative and being an artist and being an actress, I wouldn't even take a role where that role was someone getting possessed, because I feel like that's just opening yourself up to that, opening yourself up to spirits. I will not watch a horror film that has to do with possession and spirits. True crime, real life murderer, for show. That's my jam.
That still has to do with possession spirit.
I'll watch that. Possession, all that stuff. I have not.
So you're thinking about like Hollywooded possession, like smoke coming and being like, oh, but bones cracking and stuff like that. Like, that's real.
I'm talking about possession in general, no matter what the movie is. Doesn't matter if it's one night I was here and mom was watching a recount of whatever she was watching. Like, I was something by a ghost, some kind of ghost story stuff she was watching. Mm-hmm. And it's like a series of different episodes. And one of them was about a priest talking about how he had to do an exorcism. And I didn't even want to watch that. I was like, Mom, why are you watching this?
Probably she was watching because it was interesting.
And she was like, I like this. You know, she liked it. I was like, I will not watch this.
I like watching horror movies just because I know
it depends on the type of horror.
I mean the possession and stuff like that. Like I like seeing that stuff. I like being scared. And I like it if it's good though. Like if it's jump scares and it's like, okay, being ridiculous. But there was people that say, if you're a Christian, you shouldn't be watching these kind of movies. And I will say my appetite is definitely changing because there's influence in everything that you consume. So
100%.
If you're talking about a role, you are opening yourself up. Like Taraji, as we were talking about earlier, she was saying that we're allowing the characters to possess our bodies. It's really spiritual. So I gotta be careful about the energy that I allow. I don't know about that for every actor or actress, but I can definitely see that like happening.
Especially from method actors.
Spike Lee told Denzel, he was all like, you channeled Malcolm X down to you for the scene when he did in the movie. Like one of the speeches he did, I don't think Malcolm X did it. But he was all like, yeah, you like channeled. And I mean, yeah, it is possible. You have no idea what you're delving into and what it is you're by allowing certain things into your spirit.
Right.
And that's what I mean when I say we're giving these artists too much credit.
But also, I feel like when you're at that level, you cannot necessarily pick and choose, but you can say what you will and won't be comfortable doing.
Yeah.
If Taylor Swift, who I don't even understand, Swifties don't come for me.
They're coming.
She has one song that I love. It's called Evermore and it's featuring somebody else. But I don't get the hype. But for somebody.
Oh no, I thought you was going somewhere else.
For somebody, well, that's my point.
I know a Swiftie personally.
Somebody at her level. I know many Swifties personally.
Not no more. Cancel.
For somebody at her level, she's definitely to a level where she could be like, ooh, I feel like that's demonic, or I don't know about this message, so I don't want to do it. So that's what I'm saying about like.
I feel like Tay Tay is dope. Artist. I just the music she makes. I feel like she's dope. And she was hilarious in Valentine's Day.
Which was like acting in a movie.
I was like, bro.
But not singing and performing.
I will say this, like the stuff, like the concerts, like her, like Doja Cat and the whole little demonic stuff she's doing.
That Doja Cat stuff was wild.
It's like I feel like it's like what's popular and it's like, oh, we're doing this. And you got other rappers that be dealing with that stuff. And it's all like, Satan, Lucifer, who was an angel, his thing was music. So it's think that you're just being creative. You're opening yourself up to a lot of influence.
I blocked Lil Nas X and Doja Cat. They don't even know me. But I don't even want to see their stuff pop up on my feed.
You couldn't just like not follow them and wouldn't the same thing happen?
Well, you have the Explore section on Instagram.
Oh.
I didn't even, especially Doja Cat when she did that crazy demon. Oh, I see it in my head right now. Ugh, I hate it. I literally was like, oh no, not here.
Yeah, she was still fine. Not gonna lie to you. But yeah, I was like, yeah, you're doing too much. Like even if you feel like you're just taking artistic reign, like you're diving into stuff, and that's why I said it doesn't matter if she's actually into it or not. You're still promoting it And now people talking about going to her concerts and then not remembering stuff. I'm all like, yeah, of course. You don't know what you're doing. You know what signs you sitting here putting up like, oh, this looks cool. You have no idea. So yeah, that's how I feel
For
about
sure.
that.
And I don't remember why I started talking about that, but I do know it's about 11:40 p.m. It's way past my bedtime. We live in California. It's 1 trillion degrees here, but we stayed up late so we can get this episode out for you guys. So
For y'all,
I really just know you're going to watch it. You're going to love it. You're going to share it. You're going to promote it. You're going to subscribe on YouTube. You're going to subscribe on Apple Podcasts.
Subscribe.
And you're just going to engage us in the comments and tell us how awesome it is, or give us some feedback. We're open to that too. And you're also going to
subscribe.
Period. So thank you for tuning in for this episode of Deuces. And should we say
subscribe?
And deuces.
No, we should say it for real.
And should we say deuces?
Gotta stay on brand. Subscribe.